appreciation for the kindness, comfort, great care, and dignity you have treated our mother, Josefina, and our brother, Bob, during their last days, the last days of their lives. Bob was an anesthesiologist whose decades of practice was spent in a hospital in Ridgewood in North Jersey. When Bob retired some 10 years ago, he decided to relocate back in Manila, Philippines, where we all grew up. However, his move was delayed by the illness of our 93-year-old mother. She was ill for 2 years with recurring pneumonia, and for the last 2 months of her life, the caregivers of Samaritan Hospice stepped in to minister to her their gentlest and expert home care, while Bob stayed by her side 24/7. Even we, my mother's family, received care and counseling from the hospice counselor. His name was Hugh, I remember, who made sure we took care of ourselves as caregivers and saw to it that Bob was given his Sundays off and Valentine's Day as well, so he could have time for dates with his girlfriend. Bob finally left for the Philippines in 2010, but was back in 2 years for 3 family weddings. He never returned to Manila, however, because he fell seriously ill. He was bedridden for a couple of months, but he recuperated just long enough to get his old role back of pianist for our clan's annual Christmas party, which always ended with singing carols, golden oldies, and even the Hallelujah chorus. That Christmas night of 2012, we sang till 4 of the next morning. Bob was tireless. He just loved playing the piano. He loved being creative with his chords. Bob wanted to fly home in the new year, but his loss of strength was undeniable. His heart weakened, his kidneys failed, his entire body was racked with pain due to gout. By October of 2013, he had surgery to have several stents placed. He started receiving dialysis, and the dialysis portal just kept on getting infected. He came in and out of the hospital due to a number of other complications. One morning he called me up. "Amy," he pleaded, "I bled profusely again this morning, and I was going to be hospitalized again, but I told them enough of hospitals for me. Please, Amy, take me to Samaritan Hospice." And I rushed to his bedside and heard the nurse was asking him, "You are aware, doctor, that by stopping dialysis, you are shortening your life?" Smiling with a slightly challenging tone, he asked her, "By how many days would you say?" 6 to 8 weeks, she said. "Too long," he said. "That's too long." December 18 was his first day at Samaritan Hospice in Mount Holly. December 22 was his 79th birthday. Our brother Gene brought him a keyboard to Bob's delight. He started playing, bringing the room to life. Embraceable You, Night and Day, Flying Me to the Moon, Christmas carols, and we all started singing. Christmas Eve came, then Christmas Day. Family trooped in and out, children and grandchildren, siblings with our children and grandchildren. The suite was filled with music and singing. One afternoon when I got to Mount Holly to visit, I was told that Dr. Holler, earlier that day, had asked Bob if he would be willing to talk to a group of medical students. He said, sure. So she took her students to his room, left them with him, and thought they'd be out of there in 10 or 15 minutes. But they stayed with him for around 40 to 45 minutes. They told Dr. Holler later that he had asked them with professorial air about how certain medical procedures were done, as if testing them. But eventually ended up sharing with them his regret of having spent so much time attending to his career when he should have given more time to his family. Dr. Holler told me that Bob that day gave her students a very precious gift they will never forget. January 1st, 2014 was a Sunday. I went to visit him after church. I took with me the copy of the reading we had during our church New Year liturgy. Bob, I said, I'd like to read to you and pray with you this New Year's blessing. Okay, he said. So I proceeded. A reading from the book of Numbers. The Lord said to Moses, speak to Aaron and his sons and tell them, this is how you shall bless the Israelites. Say to them, and I said, Bob, here's the prayer. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord let his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord look upon you kindly and give you peace. At this point, Bob interrupted me. Amy, I am at peace. I held my breath and prayed, oh God, you have looked upon him kindly indeed and given him peace. It was that New Year's Day that Bob asked me to take home the keyboard. I have no energy left, he said. And indeed he looked spent. But he still had a faint smile. He was at peace. He was comfortable and attended to with loving care. He was sleeping more now, though he was still refusing to take morphine. In one of his waking hours, nurse Meg Finan came to tuck him in. She kissed him on the forehead and asked him, you know we love you, don't you, Bob? Your actions have shown me that, he responded. Bob died peacefully in his sleep at 12:25 in the early morning of January 5th, 2014. Like our mother, Bob was blessed with the best care available to anyone at the last stage of one's life journey. To close your eyes in peace at the end of your life is truly a blessing. And inspired by the noble mission that Samaritan Hospice stands for, I am, in fact, thinking of attending the next orientation for possible volunteers. Perhaps I can share a gift that my family has been blessed with.